I know you gonna dig this.
I'm outside in an AMG, right outside, TT.
Twin Talk Podcast.
Today we're going to talk about this video that David Choe made, and I like David Choe. He's I have top 3 favorite artists: James Jean, Sam Flores, David Choe. If I had to put them in order, it's hard to do, but there's a chance that David Choe might be first, or maybe he's second, because Sam Flores is pretty important for me. Sam Flores is important for me for the practice of making artwork. David Choe is important to me for the emotional aspect of being an artist, and the some mental things about being an artist. James Jean I like because it's he's somebody to look up to and strive for trying to make your art look otherworldly and be even better than human. James Jean's a robot. He's amazing. But we're going to listen to this on 1.25 speed or 1.5 speed because I don't need to sit here for 6 whole minutes, and also I don't know, what if there's a copyright thing when I upload this. So we'll see what 1.25 feels like, and then we'll probably up it to 1.5.
Your phone right now is a god. It has the power of God. It's a drug dealer. It's a strip club. It's a casino. You have access to every vice on your phone. One click away. One swipe, one tap away. It's why Christopher Nolan does not have a cell phone. Your life has been hijacked by technology, by video games, by social media, by YouTube, by everything. All these things saying, you should get this newest thing. You don't need any of that. It's not going to bring any joy. So you got to figure out
Right there, I'm already done. I don't like when he talks about the phone as a god. Stop that. It's a tool. And I understand the metaphor for it being as a god because it has so much power and so much control to it. But I think that looking at the phone as a god is like people in the past with less knowledge than us looking at the sun as a god. None of these are gods. Don't deify things. If you want to have control over your phone or your tool, remember it's a tool. Don't look at it like a god. You're putting it up on a pedestal for no reason. And so right there, I'm already a little bit annoyed about what David Choe is saying because it's making this conversation into it's making it childish and it's making it unrealistic. It's really hard for me. Well, let's let him keep going.
process how to consume less, and that starts with wanting less, right? Time to block your phone. I think there's at least 4.
Alright, so the title of this video is called Drastically Change Your Life in 8 Easy Steps. He just showed the title screen right there, and now he's showing step 1. Disconnect from your phone to connect with yourself. Which, just the words right there, I have no problem with that. I love that.
When I tell myself I'm enough, first thought is, no, you're not enough. Here's all the ways where you're not enough. You didn't get that part, or your art got rejected, or that girl rejected you, or that guy didn't want to be friends with you. There's a laundry list of things where I wasn't enough. But it doesn't matter if I get rejected or I get accepted.
Don't say that!
That will never change the core of who I am, the soul of me. Perfectly imperfect, unrepeatable miracle of the universe. This feels like the end of something, right? As old systems die and disappear, are we gonna let that ruin our happiness? Are we gonna let that destroy who we are? If you know who you are as a person, then it doesn't matter what happens on the exterior, on the interior. It doesn't matter. What people think about me is none of my business. What I think about myself is all of my business. So
right there, once again, I love that. Let's pull it back just a second so I can get the essence of what he said before what I had a problem with.
That ruin our happiness? Are we going to let that destroy who we are? If you know who you are as a person, then it doesn't matter what happens on the exterior, on the interior. It doesn't matter.
He said, are we going to let old ways dying change our happiness and how we move into the future? And that I love and I agree with, because no, you can't. Everything is going to keep moving. Everything is going to keep moving. I look at artists who talk about AI and it's just like, you guys are sad and you look like people who are trying to hold on to their spot and gatekeep, and you're scared of the future. And even besides that, you're too stupid, or you're too addicted to what you have going on to see the inevitability of what AI is, and to kind of if the sun is engulfing the universe, these people are trying to build a brick wall to keep the sun from hitting them. And it's like, you fucking idiots. It's not. You have to just succumb. But the idea of. But yeah, that's the idea of not letting things changing kill how you move forward. But David Choe takes that into everything on the exterior doesn't matter, or is it your business, and everything on the interior is your business. I hate that. Let's let him say it real quick.
If you know who you are as a person, then it doesn't matter.
If you know who you are as a person,
what happens on the exterior, it doesn't matter. What people think about me is none of...
If you know who you are, what happens on the exterior and the interior doesn't matter. Which is kind of weird. I think when he's saying what happens on the interior doesn't matter, I don't think he's saying, like, everything internally doesn't matter. I think he's saying that the thoughts, like the thoughts he's having of, you're not enough. I think he's saying those things don't matter because you know who you are, so you can't let those thoughts deter you. And you won't let those thoughts deter you. But I think that that's wholly ignorant.
The person, then it doesn't matter what happens on the exterior, on the interior. It doesn't matter. What people think of feels like the end of something, right? As old systems die and disappear, are we gonna let that ruin our happiness? Are we gonna let that destroy who we are? If you know who you are as a person, then
if you know who you are as a person, I know that whoever listens to this will think this next sentence is ridiculous, but I don't think anyone knows themselves as a person. I think the only thing, if you really, in my opinion, how I see the world, if you're really a growing, learning, moving person, you tentatively know yourself. You know yourself in the present moment, but you don't know what's going to happen in the future and days down the line. And you have to live life understanding that you are learning yourself always. So when I see people like pump and push all this bravado of like, I'm this, I'm that, I'm really like, I'm built different, you don't know how you're built. Your morals are only as strong as your circumstances are weak. Your morals are only as strong as your circumstances are weak. And you have to work it like a muscle. And you really don't know what you're going to end up being until you're dead. And you can say, okay, it's over. Now let's evaluate what I was.
Doesn't matter what happens on the exterior, on the interior. It doesn't matter. What people think about me is none of my business. What I think about myself is all of my business. So we need more connect.
Oh, actually, I'm sorry to... No, actually, I'm not sorry. We're rewinding that one more time.
Doesn't matter. What people think about me is none of my business. What I think about myself is all of my business. So we need more connection. We need deep connection.
I think it's ironic that he says what happens outside of me is none of my business, but what happens inside of me is all of my business, and then he goes on to say we need connection. I don't like this individualism that seeps in and out of different areas of life in America, and probably a lot of other places. We're probably not unique for it. But people need to stop talking as if everything outside of them is not connected to them. Because I hear that from all these like energy beings and spiritual people who think like, oh, I'm manifesting, I'm connected to the universe, I'm really spiritual, I think we're all one and we all matter. And then they'll talk about growth and like fixing different aspects of yourself, and all of a sudden it becomes all that shit outside of me is not my business. What's inside of me is my business. Everything outside of you is your business. Everything inside you is your business. We're all connected. You don't get to... If I drop some ink into a pond, the water at the other side doesn't get to go, that has nothing to do with me. It's gonna bleed into everything. And I will be hyperbolic. No, this isn't hyperbolic. It just is what it is. That fucking matters. And people have to give a fuck. When you... My depression comes from a lot of different places. But one of the many places is when I walk down the street and I walk by homeless people, I want to fucking Minecraft myself. I can't reconcile living in a world where I'm personally incentivized to pass by people that are dying on the street. That shit fucks me up every single time I leave the house. So I just can't stand people being like, all the things outside me don't matter. They matter. And you have to... You could look at me and go, oh, Ian, you and David Choe are saying two different things. I don't think he would say that, like, the things that happen in community don't matter for you. Maybe. But it's part of what he's saying. He's getting into that area. And I think if you're building a house and you got, like, this nice spot you're going to want to build it on, if that foundation is dog shit, the house is coming down. And I think all of this self-help work is all the foundation for what our society ends up being. And if you have any sort of thought of there's me and I matter, everything outside of me that I can't control doesn't matter, then you're just you're already starting off on the wrong foot. And this is cliche, but like, what would somebody like MLK think of a thought like that? What would somebody like Gandhi or the Buddha think of some shit like that? Oh, anime. What would Luffy think of some shit like that? That thought doesn't even come into his head. He's even further past like an MLK or somebody. I bring those people up because I'm saying people who changed the world with their solo actions that touched other people would probably never say that everything outside of them doesn't matter. They would say it all matters, and you have to care about all of it, and you have to find a way to incorporate and reconcile all of it into your life and how you see the world and how you analyze it. You can't just sit here in your head and go, it's all me, it's just me in my head, it's just da 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 da. It's silly, it's fucking retarded.
I said before about forgiving. Like, there's no one you've ever met that forgave someone, or you know what, I'm gonna be the bigger person, that regretted that. That was like, oh my god, I can't believe I did the right thing. So you could do that, bro.
You know who regrets forgiving? I almost said some really out of pocket shit, but basically, I'm just gonna say, sometimes you say sorry to people and they keep fucking you, and it hurts. I don't like when you're somebody who has some level of authority. I think you really need to, Peter Parker, great power comes great responsibility. Don't walk around here telling some 12-year-old that idolizes you on YouTube, no one ever regrets saying sorry. I've regretted saying sorry. I think that you need to have radical forgiveness. I think that all jails in the United States need to be about rehabilitation. I think you could rape and murder and do horrible things, and we should work to rehabilitate you into society. But I also have been burned from saying sorry. And I think that full view of apologies, it needs to be talked about. Not some flippant, like, oh, nobody ever regrets saying sorry. Oh, yuck. Like, stop it. Yes, they do. Stop being a child. You're a fucking hundreds of millionaire. The world is your playground. Stop giving these weird half lessons to be cute on YouTube.
Why can't you do that for yourself? When I see that, that's the purest form of love I can see, forgiveness. And then in that moment, I have hope and faith in humanity. So
forgiveness is truly the purest form of love. I will say that, because if we had multiple tries at life, like you die and then you come back and all the knowledge from your first life was in your little baby head, and now you get to do it again and try to fix your mistakes, on that second time, I'd be down putting people in jail. Because it's like, all right, you know what's up. You knew not to murder, you knew not to steal, and you came back and you did it again. So now we're going to just push you to the side. But we all get one shot. No one asked to be here. And instead of saying, yeah, no one asked to be here, so get your ass up and stop crying, you should say, oh, yeah, man, you're right. No one asked to be here, so let's all just be nice to each other. When the poorest man in the world on the street covered in dirt says that everyone just needs to be nice to each other, and when the richest man in the world is like, oh, if people would just be kind, it makes you go, all this money, all these statuses, and, ways that we separate ourselves don't matter. The real hope, goal, key, answer, solve to life is everyone needs to be nice to each other. And I hate how cringy that is. I hate how cliche that sounds, because we'll never really be able to get everyone to match up on that. And it is what it is. But just saying, I completely agree with that. I love the idea of radical forgiveness. Every relationship I've ever been in, I've tried to practice radical forgiveness, and I've fucked up really deeply in relationships, but I've never gotten the radical forgiveness for myself that I've given to other people, and it makes me really sad. And to me, that's one of the markers of how I'll know I'm with somebody that I really love, because they understand that we're all fucking up and trying, and a lot of our mistakes are the products of who we were indoctrinated to be growing up, or the mistakes we took, the wrong turns we took in becoming who we are, manifest into these horrible mistakes. And sometimes people don't mean to do the things they do, and radical forgiveness kind of washes all that away. But our egos keep us from being as forgiving as we could be, and it makes me oh so depresso.
Share that. Share your kindness, share your compassion. Mentor kids, sponsor kids. Meditate. You have to meditate. Don't let anyone tell you this is the right way. You meditate the way you need to meditate. I'd sit in a car with the air conditioning on really cold so that I wouldn't fall asleep, and I would use the automatic chairs to move up and down so I could pretend like I was like on a spaceship while listening to the soundtrack from Drive. Very meditative music. It's a psychedelic experience. You could do a mantra. You could like say the phrase over and over until it loses all meaning, until it loses all meaning, until it loses all meaning. Whoa. Just look into it, whether it's transcendental meditation or anything, just do it, okay? It has to be part of your daily practice.
Transcendental meditation at all. I like that. I have asthma, and one of the things that helps me the most is to just sit and be calm. Because when you're in an asthma, I'm gonna relate an asthma attack to like drowning. When you're drowning, you kind of panic, and you try to like your arms are reaching for something to grab onto, your legs are kicking, you're trying to keep your head above water, the water splashing into your nose, you're freaking out even more, and you kind of like overexert yourself, and if you were in the middle of the ocean, eventually you lose energy, you pass out, and you literally can't push your arms anymore, and you just sink to the bottom. And the understanding that you need to relax, breathe, feel the moment, and just take it all in step by step would help a lot of people in drowning situations, panic situations. It helps me in asthma situations. When I can't breathe, I feel my mind kind of getting a little anxiety, and I start to pull. Like you breathe in and you don't even really notice it. When you have asthma and you can barely breathe, you're taking these full breaths, but you're only getting like a third of the air you would actually get. So as you keep breathing, you're tiring yourself out from breathing. You're trying even harder to pull in even more air because you're not getting enough. Usually at the end of an asthma attack, when I get an inhaler and I fix myself and like I don't have to keep breathing like that, my chest and my ribs will just hurt because I don't even realize how hard my diaphragm and my lungs were pushing to try and pull some air in, and my whole body is dead. And every time, because sometimes I end up meditating, and I remember, oh my God, if I would just stop freaking out about an asthma attack, and I would just go to the park, put some music in my ears, sit down, and just breathe, I'll be fine. My lungs will start to fix themselves. But we're humans. One reason we're addicted to the phone is because of the convenience. I'm addicted to an inhaler because I'll be sitting there freaking out, wheezing, and just a quick puff. All gone. But that's not that unnatural way of healing the body is going to hurt me in ways that I can't really see yet. One of them might be that I get like I built up a tolerance to the inhaler, so maybe I need more of the inhaler than I would have needed now to cure things. You get it. Doing things the wrong way fucks you up in the long run. Meditation is really important. The stillness. Ask anybody in your life, how often do you just sit there and think? And they'll be like, oh, I think all the time. No, you think when you're driving, you think when you're using your phone, you think when you're talking to friends. How often do you just sit there, everything off, silence? Don't even call it meditating. Just sit there with your head in your hand, elbows on the table, and just think. Think things out. Ask yourself stuff and think about it. Work out problems. It's remarkable how many people don't do that. Rule number 4 from David Choe. 888.
888. Okay? I've already told you to block your phone, and that's huge what I'm asking you. But then you pick 8 albums, 8 movies, and 8 books, 8 weeks, and that's all you watch. And you just appreciate those 8 over and over. I watched Armageddon so many times in this last 8 weeks, and I cry every time Bruce Willis sacrifices himself for Ben Affleck. Liv Tyler's hand to the static television. No, Daddy, come back. Anyways, do the 888. These are all things that I've done that have worked. Next one is a tough one. You guys ready? Touching a nerve somewhere. Give away your greatest possession. I've done.
What he said about 888 is really important because he's talking about getting one thing, a book, a movie, and things just to focus on for a long time instead of scrolling through your phone with endless options. Every time you see a reel or a movie or a show you don't like, you go, well, I'll just go to something else. There's a million options. I'll find something that makes me feel good. choosing one thing to focus on for a long time as like your background noise of ambiance while you're creating or working or doing whatever, you it's like when he said, say a word over and over again until it loses all meaning. Eventually, you start to, if you watch something 3 times, if you listen to something 4 times, if you read a book 7 times, you start to pick up things you didn't pick up the first time. I hate watching a movie more than once, but I hate that because I feel like I'm wasting my time. I want to be entertained, and this has already entertained me, so I don't need to go over it. But I really love the show Fallout. Yeah, killing it. It just came out a couple days ago. I watched the whole thing in one night. And then the homie Tomas wanted to watch it also. And I was like, this shit's so good. I'll just watch it again. Like, we'll just turn it on. And we watched in maybe 2 or 3 sittings. We watched like 2 episodes a sitting, and we just watched it all in a couple days. And maybe there are a lot of shows that won't have this effect on me, but watching Fallout for a second time made me look at it and take it apart in ways that just made me really happy because I knew what was coming. So I wouldn't take the time. I wouldn't sit there like fooled in the moment. I would just sit there and enjoy the moment, and I'd look at the background characters, or I'd look at like what's happening in the setting and the thing. This is very obvious shit, but there's a difference between knowing something and feeling something, and sitting there and just enjoying the show for how they built the ambiance of this world is really beautiful, and it reminded me that I need to do this more. It's a real weird coincidence. It's a real weird coincidence that I'm hearing him say this now because I've been thinking about that. I need to rewatch a lot more things.
You guys ready? Touching a nerve somewhere. Give away your greatest possession. I've done this. I've given away a house. I've given away cars. I've given away jewelry. 0 regrets. I've given away my favorite super expensive comic books that are worth thousands and thousands of dollars. You can't take it with you, right? We're just custodians of stuff. You're like, oh, my grandfather gave me this, or I have the...
This is annoying for me. This is where I start to get even more annoyed. And when I was watching this the first time, I thought, okay, maybe he'll come around to address these obvious things that pop up when you have a multimillionaire, hundreds of millions of dollars, telling you to give away all your stuff. I have to bring it back to the Buddha, who a lot of people get surprised to find out, oh, how did the Buddha become a wanderer who just gave away all his possessions and preached the same thing? He was a prince who had everything. It's easy to give away your stuff when you have everything. But when people are struggling, dying from medical debt and bills, fucking about to be homeless because their shit is going to get foreclosed on or they can't pay the rent or whatever, telling them to give away all their stuff is like... I live in a world where I like that thing. I like him saying that, give away all your stuff. Everyone should have that understanding. But that's the thing. It's an understanding. He understands giving away all his stuff because, like the Buddha, he made $200 million. He got to buy houses and fucking travel the world and like retire his parents and do all the things. He got to run the gambit on how money changes and fixes and upgrades your life. So of course his experience is going to take him from hedonism all the way to like Buddhism, give it all away, you're all with one, you don't need your things, you can't take it with you. Yeah, I can't take it with me, David Choe, but I want to enjoy it right now. Because I'm poor, and it feels really good to drink a beer. Or to buy a samurai sword. Or to fucking buy a nice new jacket or whatever. It feels good. You can't just look at people. You can't look at the unwashed masses, the plebs, and be like, hey, pleb, do what I would do. I went and made $200 million off of Facebook, so I know that this feels really good, and so you should go do it. No, dude, you're talking about expanding yourself as a human, and you don't just take people from level 1 to level 30 and tell them give all their stuff away. That's how you fuck someone up. I commented in the bottom, pay off people's medical debts. Because, hey man, you want to preach all this stuff about what people should do? Help people free themselves up from the burdens so that they can understand where you've gotten to emotionally. You started this thing off and be like, I've given away houses, I've given away cars, that's nothing. That's nothing. How do more rich people not go, I just went to a hospital and I pay off all the medical debts in the hospital, in the building? I've seen that news articles a couple times. Maybe it happens more often and there are rich people who don't want it publicized, like what's his name, Keanu Reeves. He does shit like that all the time, or I've heard about it like 4 or 5 times where he just pays shit and just walks away and goes, "Don't tell anybody, just go give it to them." Fuck him for that. He needs to put his name on that so that people want to be a good person. I don't think it makes sense to make a movie where you spend 6 hours shooting and killing and beating and maiming people in the worst ways possible, and you market and make money off of that, and then when you do nice things, you just don't talk about it? What? What? The fuck is that about? Seriously, like, what is that about? I want to talk to him. That doesn't make any sense. So, just stop it, Choe. Stop it. Actually, I forgot my original point. I forgot to mention my original point. Don't stop it. You can say this. This is fine to say. But if you're gonna say this, talk about the elephant in the room. Talk about the fact that you don't just get to give your stuff away mentality just because some rich dude on YouTube told you to.
This thing and it's worth money. It's like, you've spent time with it now. That's not your identity. That's not who you are. This isn't an easy talk today, right? Because the stuff I'm asking you is drastic. And that's what we need right now. That's what we're going up. I'm asking you for drastic change. Why are you asking us to give away your greatest possession? When you do that, you'll see that you never needed that in the first place. And you're going to see the joy that it brings. And I'm not saying give it to anybody. Give it to someone else who wants that thing. Give it to them. Let's see how happy that makes them. And they're like, wow, that guy was really generous. And that'll change that person. See what happens when you live in a selfless world like that instead of a selfish one. You don't know when you're going to die, so do it now. Do it right now while you're alive. You never know what you're going to do and what it's going to lead to. In the moment, you might be having a hard time going, I want to kill myself, or this is pointless, or I don't understand the meaning of why life is so unfair and cruel. And you don't know because God has a plan. Oh my God, you sound like Jane Choe right now.
Listen.
Here's a fun one.
God doesn't have a plan. If God has a... I hate that so many people get rich or they get successful and they look for answers in life and they turn to God. Because I'm not saying to live life as if there isn't a God. I'm saying do not dissect life and preach people answers based on the idea that there is a God. I would be okay with people doing that if God would ever speak to us, if he would ever show us miracles. If he used to come down and just be like, yo, I'm here, what's good? Show me you love me by killing your son. Like, he used to talk to people, and he doesn't. Stop acting like there's a plan. If there's a plan, we wouldn't have studied every aspect and little molecule of life and found out every like secrets to evolution that like people hundreds of years ago never would have even been able to conceive of. Fucking, we know how to manipulate the world around us in these incredible ways, and it's only getting better and better as we go on. The idea that you like live in that kind of a world and then you go, God has a plan. What? What's his plan? We've been sitting here, spinning in a circle in the mud, getting like little wins of like better infrastructure, capitalism, until it turns into horrible shit. Media, better food. Like there's things that we're winning on that are awesome. Fucking flamethrowers are cool, but it's been death and destruction and murder on this planet for thousands of years. There's more slaves now than there have ever been. There's more child trafficking now than there's ever been. There's more war than there's ever been. While it's good, it's the horrible stuff has not gone down. We just ignore it, like we ignore COVID and other horrible things. And if God has a plan, the plan can't be the plan. I mean, the plan can be whatever the plan's gonna be. But I'd be fucking pissed if the plan was you're just meant to experience all these things. Because if that's the point, why is this more beautiful than anything else? Like, why is this human strife and hero's journey that we've seen in movies portrayed every fucking possible way? Why is this predictable life more beautiful than like God could have made anything? That when you're beaten off, when you're or whatever you do, and you're right on the edge and you're about to nut, and your brain goes to that place where you're just like you kind of go. God could have created a world where you are in that feeling your entire life. Why didn't he? Oh, God wanted us to learn Why are all these human qualities, morality, respect, all these? Why are all these human qualities? Why do they matter? Why can't you just create a world that doesn't need people to go through a hero's journey? This can't be the best thing. The best thing can't be I wake up, I beat off, I have some dope ass ramen with the runny egg, and then what I paint. What that can't. If there's an all powerful God that knows everything, sees everything, omniscient, omnipotent, all the omnis. This is the best thing he could come up with. A fucking like sickle cell anemia, cancer. Fucking. Brother, That's retarded. But whatever. Thinking about it in terms of God is ridiculous. You should think about it with the realistic terms that are in front of you. Science, rational thinking, all these things. And then once those give you these great answers, go a little further and talk about God. But don't make the foundation God has a plan. That's so fucking ridiculous.
Learn how to cook. You should know how to cook at least one epic meal. Learn how to sing one song that you're really good at, that's in your vocal range that you can do, and it's not like a joke. Everyone turns around and does a double take. You're like, whoa, I know I can be verbose and loquacious, but look. Dave, are you going to say live every day like it's your last day? Yeah, actually, that's what I'm going to say. I know people who have died, have gotten a bad report from their doctor saying they're going to die in a year or something. Some of them did die and some of them lived. When you're safe and you're comfortable, you act a certain way. When you think you're about to die, or that you're about to get fired from your job, or you know that your girlfriend or boyfriend's about to break up with you, then you all of a sudden you're like, oh, I got nothing to lose. And then you hit this radical level of honesty. I'm a liar. I've lied about tons of things. But the thing is, lying is a survival tactic for me. And
I just don't think he's not. I just don't think it's right to tell people, hey, we should all be living on the edge. You get to have this life that you live in, David Choe, because a lot of people aren't living on the edge, dude. Life has balance. And you're like, what, 40 plus? You could give any answer you want for these things. And this is one of the most cliche things I've ever heard anyone say. Just live life on the edge, dude. You can't live life on the edge, you got 4 kids. Maybe you can't live life on the edge because you're blind and your edge is different from other people's. Maybe living life on the edge for you is murdering people. Like, how far do you go with the living on the edge? Should somebody really be running from their life because they just stabbed up like a class of preschoolers? Like, you can't just live life on the edge. And I talk about this a lot with people when I see them say this dumb shit on social media about not settling, not compromising. There's this clip of Eartha Kitt that's hilarious to me, where this interviewer tells her, like, would you compromise if, like, a good man came into your life? And she went, compromise? For what? And just, like, the way she said it made me go, there it is. That's why you're fucking single. You're not single because other people aren't good enough. You're single because you're an angry bitch. That's all. In life, you have to balance and settle. You have to compromise. It is unavoidable. I don't give a fuck how much David Choe wants to be like, I run around beating myself in the nose and painting with my blood, and I spray paint on anything I want, and I don't give a fuck. There were moments when he's doing all that where he bargained and went, oh, that's enough blood, I don't need to hit myself harder. Oh, if I spray paint right now, this person might come over here and like shoot me. Or there's so many. Those were bad examples, but it's my point. Like, there's minute and giant ways that you have to compromise and settle in every fucking moment of your life. And to talk about life as if you should just live on the edge, that doesn't do anything but make some kind of like edgy self-help guru video on YouTube. That's all that serves to do. Because it's not realistic. You made generational wealth. You made a name for yourself that will live into the future. And the best you can come up with right now is live on the edge. God damn it, dude.
environments that I grew up with, if I didn't learn how to lie, I'd be dead right now. Lying is ingrained in me. So for me to just say stop lying, well, now you're just asking us to be delusional. Just stop lying. Just stop lying completely. It's so refreshing. You go to sleep at night without that level of anxiety and making stories to cover up those lies.
This one I like. You should stop lying. Stop lying completely. But lie to other people. Stop lying to yourself. Lie to other people momentarily because, like I said a second ago, you have to compromise in life, and you can't just. If I go to the homies art show and I hate all of the art, it might not be the best unless I have a relationship with this person like this. It might not be the best way to critique their art by saying, dude, this is all dog shit. I don't even know why I came out here. I'd be embarrassed to hang this up. Like, modulate. Modulate what comes out of your mouth. It's not even a lie, really. Say the things you need to say to get by where you need to get by. But don't lie to yourself. And if you can, you don't tell the homie that their artwork is bad at the gallery. You go, what made you want to paint this? And you get them to talk about their work. And instead of talking about the work being bad, you learn about the work through their emotional lens and what they went through to make the thing that they make. And if you don't like it after that, you politely go, I don't like it really, but I'm glad I came out to support you because I think that art is important. Thank you for making what you make. Modulate. Don't lie to yourself, but modulate. Lying for me, just like David Choe, lying was a really big thing. I can't say that if I didn't learn how to lie, I'd be dead right now. That's pretty extreme, but he has all these stories about, I think it was his dad being very violent, and I think him and his brothers running around the streets, they got into a lot of situations where they had to learn how to, move through people and not get all the focus on them. And lying is a great way to take things off of you and onto someone else. Or something else. I was never like in danger of dying if I did learn how to lie, but like my mom is not the type of person that is down to have a conversation. She's like a 1950s dad. When she comes up and says something to you, she's talking to you. I came to say something to you. That's what's happening here. Everything else is not my business. So if you have feelings about something, you basically have to shut your feelings down and learn what she's trying to hear so you can get through the moment. She doesn't come up and go, I genuinely want to just know how you feel. It's I need you to feel like this right now, or I need you to go do this right now, or I need to get this out of you right now. And so for me, a lot of my life was lying to figure out how to get through those moments because I kind of, this is going to be bad to say, but I kind of wish that I would just get beat. My mom would she would yell me and my brother, or just me or just my brother. She would yell in my face so hard, I would back up and I'd be in the corner and she'd just be yelling, just full force yelling at me about all the things that she's like, you're fucking up like this, you do this, huh, you think this, you think you try to do that, why are you fucking up, why are you fucking up, do around, and it's just like, just going off, where like, I kind of pee on myself a little bit, just being terrified, just sitting there going, oh my god, is she about to hit me, oh my god, is she about to hit me, and then it's just 5 minutes of yelling and you go, I'd rather you just hit me so that we can just be done with this. So, because the communication was like that for me growing up, for me, it was just lie so that you can get her out of your face. And now that we're all grown and we have these conversations and I openly say, hey, I lie because I've never been able to talk to you. So the easiest thing is to lie so that I can get through the moment. And just because you're only here to hear what you want to hear. So I give you some version of that, and then I move on. And she's offended. She's offended, like, how could you just treat me like a child like that and just lie? And, well, hey, man, you facilitated that. And it feels very weird to be saying that as an adult, because I can't imagine doing that to a kid. It seems very obvious that, like, when a kid's growing up, you should try to talk to them, and that expressing yourself and communication and having like good back and forth conversations are really important. Like, I've said this a few times by myself and my own thoughts. I've heard this said by tons of parents all over the place, that really one of the best ways to judge yourself as a parent, one of the best ways, there's a million ways to judge yourself on anything. One of the best ways to judge yourself as a parent is Do your kids feel comfortable to come and talk to you about anything? No matter what happens with you and your kids, they should feel like there's an open line of communication to talk to you, at the very least. Even if you're gonna get mad, even if they're good, they know they'll be in trouble. You need to be someone that they can come to, and I never, not once in my life, have felt like that with my mom. Oh wow, I've never said that last sentence, and it like hits really true as I say it. I have never once in my life felt like I can go to my mom about anything, and I don't think I've never gone to her about anything. I've gone to my teachers, I've gone to my friends, I've gone to girlfriends, I've gone to my brother. Me and my brother just talk about things, and I'm getting closer to a place with my brother even where I don't feel like I can go to him about anything, from a almost from the smallest thing to the biggest thing. It's just I kind of just go. I'm starting to get to a place of, I love you and I'll always love you, but you're kind of just a guy I know now. Because he keeps himself so separated. So like, keep those lines of communication open with people in your life so they don't end up having to lie to you. And for all you liars, don't lie to yourself. Try not to lie to the people around you, but learn how to modulate.
I want you to reach a new level of radical honesty, the same type as if the doctor just told me a week to live.
You can be honest with people, but that's our friend.
Tony and Timmy.
Who's that, Dave?
Tony and Timmy are tone and timing. You could tell truths, hard, uncomfortable truths to people if you pick the right time to say it, not during a fight, not during a tense, in a quiet, peaceful time, and with the right tone. You might be a sensitive artist, but you're tough. You can take it. This I know about you. Words hurt, right? But you heal, right? You don't need to lie anymore. Your body heals. Time heals all wounds. You have nothing to fear.
Nothing to fear. So my problem with this whole video is never meet your heroes. I met Sam Flores one time, walked out of a gallery where I was showing work at like a little art festival thing. His art happened to be on the walls, and I was like, oh wow, I get to see all his paintings up close. I didn't give a fuck about my booth. I spent the whole night walking around, looking at all his paintings up close, loving it. I think I was packing up to leave. I think I left, or maybe I was getting a snack. Doesn't matter. I was outside. I turn around, and he's across the street from the gallery smoking a cigarette. And my heart just, it was like anxiety, but good anxiety. And I walked up to him to say hi. And immediately, as I started to say hi, I was going to say, I love your work, because I was going to explain how, like, when I first started painting, he was the artist that I looked at to be like, how do I get this? And I copied his work to try to figure out how to do it. Me and my brother found ways to paint a little bit like him and outline a little bit like him. And to see him standing there, I didn't think that I'd ever be this type of person. I immediately busted into tears. And I just start crying. I'm missing my tooth. I look retarded. And I'm just like, Dad, and I'm trying to tell him all the things I just said here. And he just starts giving me a hug. And he asked me if I have a sketchbook. And I pull a sketchbook out. He asked me what my favorite animal is. I said otter. And he drew an otter on its back. And then he wrote his number down and signed his name. And I still need to get that shit laminated, but I still have it. And I even thinking about that moment right now, I could cry if I thought about it hard for 5 minutes. Never meet your heroes except for Sam Flores. He was a class act. That was a great time. But I bring that up to say that I feel like if I met David Choe, I'd be really disappointed. When I was growing up, not even when I was my teens and early college, I was listening to his DVDSA podcast and watching all the things that he was doing. And to me, David Choe was like a larger than life figure, and he was this crazy dude that I wouldn't have said this in the past, but now with an adult mind, I can look at myself and understand that this is what I was thinking. I didn't look at David Choe as human. Like, I was just like, this guy's like some kind of like magic wild man, and the way he thinks is refreshing, and it's the kind of thinking that I feel myself moving towards. And so you're a great like catalyst for me to like take some thoughts from and like understand the processes of. And one of the first times that I remember being like, yo, fuck David Choe, was he had a gallery, and you had to apply to get into the gallery. And I worked really hard on my application and like writing my reasons why I wanted to go and all this stuff. And I never got chosen. And it made me think, when I saw the people who were at his gallery, they just looked like NPC chuckle fucks. And I was like, what the fuck did those people say that made him go, come to this gallery. You deserve to see this. And in my anger, I made myself think, nah. You know what? The reason you didn't get chosen is because he probably read your thing and thought you didn't need this. All these weak, sad, wimpy bitches, he probably wants them because like they're weak and they're like sad little lonely people, and it was just like it was cope. I wanted to go so fucking badly, but it to me it didn't make any sense because like the application is dumb. How the fuck are you gonna like? Anyways, it made me a little bit disillusioned about who he is, and I started to go. If you'll do this retarded ass process to get into your gallery, and not choose somebody that really fucking wants to go, what's up with you, dude? Are you kind of like a kook? Are you not as cool as I thought you were? And maybe those thoughts don't make sense from outside of myself, but it's where my mind started to go. And then he cut his podcast. It started to get deleted. It was hard to find. There was people who started having problems with him, and you could hear some angry friends that were like, "Oh, he's too crazy." And I started to think, "Oh, so he's not just some like cool guy that makes art and loves people and is just trying to be honest. He's fucked up like everybody else." And you know, I'd gotten that sense of him from the beginning, but I think the success and the money made me look at him as like, well, he's eccentric, so it's okay, right? Well, really, everything's good. He's just eccentric. But he was like one of those first people that made me realize your success is not an excuse for the way you act. And you can have a ton of money and still be a lame who needs to work on themselves. And so then he got a TV show. I'm jumping all over the timeline. Then he got a TV show called Beef with Steven Yeun and a couple other people. And when Beef was coming out, I think it was a Netflix show. When Beef was coming out, all this controversy started coming out from his podcast where they were like, oh, look at these horrible stories that Dave told of like kind of a rape at a salon, or he let Bobby Lee tell this story about like a rape of a girl in Tijuana, and they played it as jokes. And at the time, I remember being in college and listening and being like, that's really extreme. But what I love about this is the honesty, because so much of life is fucked up because people can't just be honest. And to watch him basically put press out and be like, hey, it was all fake. It was all fake. It was just jokes. It was all fake. It was just jokes. It was all fake. It was just jokes. Copping pleas so that he doesn't have to go through the cancel culture made me look at him kind of like, I didn't see you as the type of guy that would just run from controversy like that. And like, run from your words and run from the things you said. I'm not saying anything, like you'll hear me on this little diary journal podcast say some really weird shit, and you're not gonna see me in 20 years be like, I'm sorry I said that, and it was actually just a joke. I was just no. I'm gonna go, hey, that's what I thought at the time. That's what I felt at the time. It is what it is. And I know his story that he's like refuting as a joke is more extreme than some like whatever opinions on a podcast, but he didn't describe it as like some brutal aggressive rape. He described it as like, I went to a hand job salon and there was like suggestive, it was a suggestive, it wasn't things were done not spoken, and maybe it could be considered uncomfortable, but the woman did it, and she kind of, if I remember the story correctly, she like kind of asked as he pushed her hand down towards his penile. I have to go look at it again, but if it's worse than what I'm saying right now, I'll still stand by it as like, you should stand by the fact that you said that. And just deal with it. So, these little moments made me go, oh yeah, he's just human. He could have $200 million. I could like his art, but he could be a little lame weirdo who like doesn't who just happens to have a cool voice and make good art. And these moments of disillusionment made me realize all those things. And so then that brings me to this last thing, the YouTube channel, and why I'm even talking about this video. One second. The door's open, babe. You want to go outside? Oh, I'm sorry. Here. Oh, I'm talking too much. I need this inhaler. 1 second. This last thing brings me to why I'm even talking about this video in the first place. He's been putting out these YouTube videos every few days or once a week or something, and I've been watching them going, why is he doing this? What's going on? And when I see him take a acting part in Beef on Netflix, and the way he seems to be kind of getting into the public eye in certain ways, it feels like he made all his money off of like that Facebook moment like 10 years ago. He spent 10 years just enjoying himself and like finding himself and doing whatever he wanted, and now he's trying to like come into culture and be like, how do I be David Choe, the cultural phenomenon artist again? And it feels like some team was like, hey, you gotta make YouTube videos, dude. You gotta become a YouTuber. Because there was a video I was watching where he said, my life is very easy now. All I do is do whatever I want, and I try to remember to record a podcast every couple of days. And so that, to me, what I assume from that is he wakes up every once in a while and goes, I need to do a podcast. And then he has like a team of people that cut this up and make these little YouTube videos for him and help him push his channel. And so I don't think that what I'm looking at right now is a David Choe that is as raw and honest and just trying to make art as he was 10 years ago. And in some ways, 20 years ago. And in some ways, every artist is going to be like that. You're going to change, you're going to get watered down, or you're going to, whatever. Time moves on. But this David Choe I'm seeing feels like a product. And it makes me uncomfortable. It feels like a guy who's trying to be a part of the culture, not a guy who's just making these things just to make them. But I think that my perception from my disappointment of him over the years is probably coloring a lot of that. Like, you know, you usually have to take people at face value. Like, if this is what he wants to do, this is what he likes now, it's probably honestly just is what it is. But it makes me question because it probably makes me question because it's hard to believe that somebody can make hundreds of millions of dollars and come to such basic bitch black and white answers in some of this video. What work did you do if you can't talk about how everything's connected? And I think he would say everything's connected. If I sat down with him, he'd go, whoa, no, I do think like everything's connected and you need to like care about the people around you and not just what's inside you. But you didn't put that in your video. Did you just like do a cool ramble on a podcast and the people who edit your videos are working with what they're working with? I don't know, but it feels strange. I don't like feeling like David Choe is trying to be a product and not David Choe. But who knows? I'll never really know. But I'm gonna keep dissecting these videos because I like thinking about him. I like anybody that has as many opinions as him. When I was listening to his podcast early on, I really liked him because he's so aggressively opinionated. Granted, he's calmed down now, but his opinionated ass made me go, oh yeah, I can be opinionated. Like, it's not a big deal. This is actually, it's fun. Get into it, Ian. Like, let yourself feel and express. And so, thank you, Choe, for that. Whatever the fuck you're doing now is weird. I'll always be here to look at it and see what's going on. But if you're really all about giving shit away because can't take it with you, please go pay off some medical debts. Pay my rent. Give me some money. I want some money. What do we got to do to get one of these houses or these cars from David Choe? That's what I would have figured out. You got the money. You're talking about giving shit away. Give me a piece. All right. That might have been pointless. I don't know. But I had fun talking about it. Bye-bye.